nowhere have I heard in any other country where the president meets with the private sector on a scheduled basis. It's unheard of. When the president really listens to you, when you're talking to somebody and
Yung
for
alam mo,
2 hours,
lip service lang yung...
you're a big meeting, you're like 8 people, you're 10 people, 20 people. Sometimes you look at your phone, di ba? Ganun. He doesn't even look at his phone at once. He's totally engaged. He's absorbing what's being said, right? By both sides, the private and the thing. And then he balances it out.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si RJ Nieto, back from the dead. At kasama ko po ngayon si Aboitiz Group President, Sabina Aboitiz. At ito po yung aming series po ng Through the Lens, where we talk to various business leaders and ask them about kung ano po yung ginagawa nila, kung ano po yung ginagawa ng kanilang mga korporasyon, and then how the government partners with them para po mas makagawa po ng mas marami pang mabuti para sa taong bayan. Magandang umaga po. Pwede sabihin na lang. Sorry.
Siyempre, whatever you want.
Kasi
Mukhang buhay na buhay ka. Hindi ka from the dead.
Actually, nagpapa-makeup ako kanina. Sabi ko, dapat ate, parang natutulog lang. So yeah, this is my first time to actually interview you, Kasi dati yung mga informal na meetings lang eh. So, Sabine, pwede bang pakipaliwanag muna kung ano yung ginagawa ng Aboitiz Group maliban doon sa alam na natin lahat na dati yung super fair, di ba?
Yeah, dati pa yun. Everybody
Dati.
actually, ngayon when somebody asks for ano yung main business ng Aboitiz Group, ang sagot ay transport, super ferry. Pero that's a long, long time ago, more than almost 15 years ago. So wala na yun. Nabenta namin yung negosyo na yan. So now, our majority of our business is power, both generation at saka distribution.
Di po ba na kayo din yung humahawak ng management po ng Cebu Airport? Tama po ba yun?
Another negosyo of ours is Infracapital. Aboitiz Infracapital, where we invest in mga infrastructure, tubig, mobile towers, airports, economic estates. Yan, economic estates, that's where a lot of, actually, the highest amount of employment happens in the economic estates.
Could you give me parang ballpark figure lang on how many people you employ right now? How many Filipinos?
Overall, including Asia, we're close to 40,000. Pero in the Philippines, mga 30,000.
Mga 30,000.
Sorry. Mga 35,000.
Dami rin pala, no? Kumusta yung business niyo? Is it expanding?
Good. Meron, some are expanding, some are having a hard time. Normal.
Regular
conglomerate,
business cycle.
regular. The consumer business is doing well. Our new business, for example, Coca-Cola, doing very well. Yung powers doing well. Banking doing okay. Yung mga negosyo na is trying to adapt to the new, sometimes they have a hard time. But okay naman.
Well, ganito, kanina po, nung bago nitong show na to, nagkukwentuhan tayo. Sabi ko, ano pa ginagawa ng Aboitiz Group para maka-generate pa ng mas maraming trabaho para sa taong bayan? Tapos na-mention nyo kanina, maganda, mas palakihin natin yung tourism industry. And sabi niyo the first way to do that, the best way, step 1, ay yung pag-i-improve ng transport infrastructure. Pwede po bang expound pa yon yung pag-i-improve ng transport infrastructure?
The first thing that the tourist sees is your airport, for example, right? The second thing he sees is outside of the airport to go to his destination. So the infrastructure is, yan ang talagang super, super important. Right? That's where a lot of the PPPs can happen with the government. Yeah? For example, improve tourism. First thing, make airports better. How do you make airports better? Either the government run it better or that you PPP it with the private sector, and the private sector improves the airports. All around the world, ang ginawa ng mga gobyerno ay pina-privatize nila yung operations ng airport. No?
Are all the major airports sa mundo naka-privatize na? Yung maintenance?
Outside of the US, hindi ko alam yung US, pero outside of the US, London, Spain, all of that, puro privatized yan.
Ito po, personal opinion ko lang naman. Hindi naman po gano'ng kaganda yung mga airports sa States.
Yeah, States. I'm not sure it's the US, pero I mean, even in the Philippines, right? For example, in the Philippines, Clark is private.
Yes. NAIA's recently
NAIA is
privatized
recently
yung-
privatized. Mactan Cebu is private.
Yeah.
And so those airports are run quite well.
Pwede niyo po ba ipaliwanag muna kung ano po yung nangyayari sa isang PPP project? Kasi po, yung mga may hindi alam, correct me if I'm wrong, yung Aboitiz Group din po ang nag-handle po sa operations and maintenance po ng Cebu Mactan Airport. Yung magandang airport ngayon sa Cebu, yung mukhang wavy na
Right.
airport, di po ba? So, how does your agreement with the government work?
You have a time limit, right? That you have to invest X amount of money to handle X amount of passengers, right? Depende sa aeropuerto, no? Some are bigger, some are smaller. So yun, and then you make that contract with the government, and the government now gives you certain guidelines. So every passenger must check in 30 minutes. You have the checklist like that they keep on checking you, no? And you must comply to those checklists and agreements.
Ano ba yung or else clause nun? Or else?
Papatay. They will cancel they'll cancel your concession.
O parang quits, ayaw na.
Ayun, yeah, oh, they'll make it bawi. Di ba? Bawiin nila yung airport kung hindi mo kayang sa mga agreements.
Well, sa ngayon po, 3 yung major airports sa Pilipinas. 3 major international airports. Clark, na hindi naman gano'n kadami yung flight. Pero ang totoo po, ang talaga pinaka-major, Cebu and NAIA sa Manila. Sa palagay po ba ninyo, paano po natin mapapa-improve palalo yun pong sistema po ngayon? Kasi honestly po, medyo malungkot yung sistema po ng NAIA ngayon. Yung sa Cebu, in fairness to the Aboitiz Group, maganda po ipapatakbo ng Cebu at bago yung airport. Sa NAIA po kasi medyo dilapidated na. Sa palagay niyo po, how can we improve it further?
Well, what the president did now is he privatized NAIA. They will award that to San Miguel in September, I believe, no? Where they have a 15 plus 10 or 25-year concession period, where they have certain things that they have to do to bring the capacity up. So I think that one alone, you will see big improvements there.
So hindi pa actually nagsastart?
Hindi pa at start.
Actually, marami na po sa mga kababayan natin ang familiar with public-private partnerships. Hindi lang po naiintindihan pa ng marami o kung paano ito nagbe-benefit to both sides. I mean, madali namang mag-gets na it benefits sa private sector. Pero po halimbawa, kung ako yung karaniwang tao lang na nanonood sa inyo, tapos sabi ko, ano pa kaialam ko dyan? Anong papala ko dyan bilang karaniwang Pilipino? Ano po ba sagot nyo doon?
It's like MRT. Look at your MRT. People ride the MRT, di ba? That's puro private na yan, almost all. So, if the government runs it, parang cannot run it. It's not made. The government is not made to run an MRT, right? An MRT company is made to run an MRT. Parang doktor, di ba? Parang will the government become the doctor, or will the government tell the doctor to be the doctor, di ba? So, whatever you're trained for, di ba? Ikaw, you're going for your PhD, di ba, RJ? So,
Kaaral po.
nag-aaral. Yun. So, what you make aral, di ba? That's what you're hired for. Kasi if the government does it, mahirapan sila, di ba? They're made to regulate, make sure it's attractive, make sure, build the roads, mga ganun. No? The other one is PPP of the roads. Makita mo all the highways that are being built, no? I never thought that I'd be able to go to Baguio in 2.5 hours.
Yeah, di ba?
In my lifetime. And look, the government privatized with PPP'd with the
Yung sa
with the private
TPLEX,
sector.
di ba yung nung araw talaga hindi dati po kasi I live in Bulacan for most of my life. Pag magbabagyo kami noon 6 hours minimum yun papanik.
Exactly.
Tapos ngayon, pag Bulacan, we can actually do it in like 2 hours.
Enjoy ka pa, di ba? Yung drive mo, hindi ka na-stress, wala masyadong traffic. So, let the private sector partner with the government, right? To be able to, number one, not only capital, but talent.
Yung expertise.
Yeah, yung expertise. I'll give you another one, RJ. PhilHealth.
All right.
What is the recommendation of the private sector, right? It's digitize PhilHealth para everything in PhilHealth is on their phone when you want to claim, when you want to get paid, when you want to, how much do I have left, how much. So if you digitize it, but to digitize it, don't do it with the private sector where they know how to do it. They've done it before.
No, palagi nakakang gobyerno. Sorry naman po.
That's another example, right, of a good partnership, digitization of government services.
Yung po mga may hindi alam dyan, si Sabina Boites po, ang isa sa mga nangunguna. Actually, kayo yung head ng Private Sector Advisory Council, hindi po ba?
Yes.
So sila po yung grupo po ng mga businessmen na nagbibigay ng payo sa presidente pagdating po sa possible collaborations between government and the private sector. Pwede niyo po ba i-explain muna sa amin generally kung ano yung sistema po na yun? Paano po ba nangyayari yung private sector advising na yun?
Actually, it's a nice story kasi one time we were on our way to to a rally, and I was sitting beside the first lady, and she told me, the president really believes in the private sector. Parang, what would you do? How would you make sure that we cooperate more with the private sector and all that? So she said, can you give me an idea or give me... Anyway, so I came back the idea. I gave her idea of, creating a council with 6 areas, 5 people per council. We get the best minds in the country for those councils, and to be able to regularly meet with the president. So it happened, and the president, we presented to the president. He liked the idea. He approved it. He tweaked it the way he wanted it. And nowhere have I heard in any other country where the president meets with the private sector on a scheduled basis every other Thursday at 2 p.m. Parang it's unheard of. Right?
Actually, medyo nga po, nung nalaman ko na may PSAC, yung Private Sector Advisory Council, it's kind of reminiscent doon sa yung economic boom po ng Japan and South Korea. I'm not sure if probably we don't have the same system, but, it kind of, I have the feeling na, baka nga pwede to. Alam mo yun? Kasi one of the best economies right now are Japan's economy and South Korea's. So ngayon po, ang tanong ko sorry po, nag-host din po kasi ako ng Prisona. So puro sekretary ng gabinete kausap ko. So sabihin, ano ba yung mga klase ng mga tanong na binabato sa inyo ng presidente? Para lang magkaroon kami ng idea.
Well, so there are 6 sectors, diba? One is agriculture. You have agriculture, you have hard infrastructure, digital infrastructure, health, tourism, and jobs, right? So they're all different sectors and different questions. And so we give every other Thursday from 2 to 4, mag-meeting kami in one sector. Ibig sabihin, every sector meets once a quarter with the president. So it's often, no? And he has shown that he is very engaged in the conversations. He really believes in the privacy. He listens. So for me, this is a different way of doing things compared to, the other countries where the president would call when he wanted the meeting. Parang,
Kailan niya trip.
Oo. And this one is, so every quarter we put what we discussed the last time, what we're doing the next time. It's shown ahead. It's presented. So it's parang more business-like, the meetings.
Dahil may regularity.
By regularity.
So how is it different from? We don't wanna disparage the previous administrations. Kailangan natin mag-move on. But how is it better now? Is it better now or worse now? How did it change the way yung mga malalaking conglomerates do business?
It's always different, and it's very hard to compare administrations all the time because times are always very different, right? One had a pandemic, one didn't. What I know under President Duterte, the first thing he did was safety. I think was his main.
Yeah.
And that's at that time, I think maybe what was important. So it's really it's so hard people are different, no? I even noticed that in the business sector where CEOs compare one CEO to the other. I say, teka muna, you cannot compare one CEO because the times are different, the disruptions are different, the threats are different, the geopolitics are different. Parang buhay natin, di ba? When you go somewhere,
mahirap
10 years
compare,
later, your life is a different life, right?
Yeah, I get it. Mahirap yung apples and oranges. What I'm asking po ay yung halimbawa, for example, ang Aboitiz Group or maybe, I don't know, ang group ni RSA, ni Ramon Ang, has a good idea for the country. Tapos may unsolicited proposal or some proposal to the president. How do they get that through? Ano yun?
They submit it to the department.
Opo.
And sometimes the council recommends it, but sometimes no, they go directly. Maraming mga project namin that it goes directly to the department concerned,
Sa ngayon po ba, ano ba pinakamalalaking suggestion ng PISAC para sa gobyerno?
Well, privatization of the airport, for example, was a recommendation. I'm not saying they wouldn't have done it. I'm saying it was a recommendation. Privatization of all the airports actually is a recommendation that we've done.
Well,
Digitization of field health is big, is major. That's
yung privatization ng airport, well, privatized na yung operations ng Cebu, ng Manila, at saka yung lipad sa Clark. Ano pa po ba yung pwede i-privatize?
Iloilo, Bacolod, Lagindingan,
Hindi pa ba
Bohol,
privatized yun?
Davao. Hindi
Opo
pa.
nga. Sa palagay po ba ninyo, pag privatize yun, mas maraming magiging flights? Kasi po ang problema ngayon yung dalang minsan ng mga flights eh.
I think tourism will improve, right? So when that improves, you will get more flights, more people, and tourism is directly to the pocket of everybody, right?
Yes.
It doesn't. It goes to the company, but it goes directly. More massage, more tricycle riders, more, and that's directly to people's what they call it. That's why we feel tourism is so important. Plus, that is where we have an advantage. Our islands are beautiful. Our country is beautiful.
Yes,
Our people are beautiful. So that's do things where you have an advantage, not where you have a disadvantage, right?
I agree. Actually
You
nga,
cannot do snow skiing here, di ba? Kasi wala tayong snow. So,
kwento ko lang sa'yo sabihin na marami akong friends from the province. Kasi I come from a very humble background. So, sometimes nakikipag tambay-tambay ako sa kanila. Tapos pinapaliwanag ko, alam mo, huwag kayong magreklamo na may mayaman. Dapat, actually mga mayaman, gusto nila, yumaman din kayo. Tapos sabi nila, bakit? Kasi pag mayaman kayo, mas marami kayong pambili. So, magtutulong-tulungan tayo lahat. So, I just kind of
create more jobs,
remember
right?
that.
Yeah.
Kasi, if maboost natin yung tourism, mas maraming mga small businesses that will pop up and there will be more, parang average disposable income for the karaniwang Pinoy, hindi po ba?
Yeah.
So, eto po, meron pong nagsasabi po na yung mga private-public partnership ay prone daw sa abuso from the private sector. Marami po nag-criticize na gano'n. Ano po ba opinion nyo tungkol doon?
If you put like anything can be abused if you don't put the proper regulations there. But if you put the proper regulations, then it cannot be abused, right?
So, let's, kasi kanina sinabi nyo sa amin, yung pag hindi kayo nag-perform doon sa Cebu Mactan Airport, pwedeng i-rescind ng gobyerno yung prangkisa
prangkisa,
nyo doon, di po ba? So, tabi muna natin yun. Punta po tayo sa suggestion po ng PISAC about PhilHealth. Sa palagay ba ninyo, hindi ba magiging problema yun na the private sector has access to possibly sensitive private information of millions of Filipinos? Hindi po ba magiging risk?
The private sector does not have to have the access. It can just operate it, but the government can maintain that access.
So po pwede bang lagyan ng fence yun?
Yeah,
Yung,
pwede.
yung data na yun?
Yeah. PhilHealth is only one. The government is digitizing the whole government, di ba? They're doing PhilHealth, they're doing SSS, they're doing airport, everything now is more. Yung mga LGU, di ba? Now when you apply for permits, it's all online. So you have certain digitization, online and digitization, where the government, right, is protecting the people. National ID, for example, right? That one, right? The national ID, for example. The government can have somebody manage the national ID, but not give away the data. Meaning it keeps the data. Parang,
well, I appreciate, lalo na po yung, alam niyo yung eGovPH na app. Di ba, ang dami na pwedeng gawin using that, yung parang central na app na yun.
exactly.
And in principle, digitization is really good. I really don't see any major obstacles sa pag-outsource nung digitization plans. What I'm curious about is what's keeping the government from doing all those, right?
Well, they are. They're doing it, just that it takes time. We're also impatient, which is a good thing, right? Remember, this government is 2 years old.
Yes.
And the first year, I took over a company, for example. My first 6 months, first year is putting the right people. Imagine 5,000 people that the government has to put into their positions. So it takes a while, right? So I mean, I think it's unfair to think that it's 2 years and you expect something in 2 years. It takes a year to get the house in order, put the right people in the government, the right place, how you want to run it, etc., etc. So realistically, I think the government's been operating for a year, right? And look, they've been able to privatize so many. I mean, at least starting right to privatize NAIA, a port in Iloilo. There's a lot of things that are on the pipeline that are going to
Kasi nang
happen.
umiikot na yung bola.
Yeah, umiikot na yung bola. Yeah,
Alright.
exactly.
What can we look forward to sa mga susunod na mga kasi sabi mo ngayon pa lang nag-start na mag-umpisa na yung mga major na reforms. What can we look forward to at least in as far as yung collaboration between the government and the private sector?
So you have short term, which is privatization of airports like that, and long term, which is build more roads, more rail, MRT, the rail to Clark, for example. That's been a project for 20-something years. The other day, I was looking at it. It's really being built, no? So you have the short term and the long term. And the beauty about this administration is they really believe in changing the structure. Para you cannot change it anymore. Once you've done it, tuloy-tuloy na yan, right? It cannot, the government cannot flip-flop with investors, right? Privatization of an airport is changing the structure, di ba? Parang,
All right. Ano po let's zero in lang dun sa idea na yun kasi medyo na-intriga ako. What's the previous na structure? When we talk about changing the structure.
well, we would do certain things. We would privatize one airport, for example, or we would privatize one seaport. Mga ganun. It's not a
Pero
it's not a
pika-pika lang.
Yeah, pika-pika, right? Exactly. It's not an overall structure. Digitization is a complete structural change. Once you digitize, wala na, you cannot go back, right? So they're doing that one government app. You see how fast the government used the digital technology to improve LGUs and all that, and it becomes rolling, right? The minute one LGU happens, then the other one, the people in the one say, "Uy, I also want the same thing," diba? So then it keeps going, right?
Do you know of any camps or any groups na nag-oppose noong changing the structure?
I don't think so.
Wala naman yata masyadong resistance no?
I don't think so. I mean, when you change a structure, for example, right? We're in the economic estates. We employ about in one of our estates, for example, we employ about 110 the economic estates, right? They employ about 110,000 people. Why? The road was built. As the road was built, you were able to open the economic estates there, and then you build. Now that becomes a central business district and continue. So people move outside of Metro Manila. They live like they're in Metro Manila, but outside. They're able to come in. They're able to go out. They have the schools and the jobs that are created in the province, which is what you want. You don't want jobs in Metro Manila.
Yeah,
you want
decongest natin.
outside.
No?
Right. So those are, again, things that structural changes, right? You should be in a rush to build roads, highways,
I think you
to the north, to the
I think you
south.
understand that better than most people kasi lalo na yung, di ba, galing kayo sa Cebu and then Cebu, Visayas, di ba dati may diaspora punta ng Luzon just to find jobs.
To find jobs.
And right now, ang laki na ng pagkakaiba ng Visayas region compared sa say 30 years ago.
Correct.
So is it safe to say na while there is no real opposition as regards to changing the system, it really just takes time.
It takes time. You have to go through the bureaucracy. They have to make sure that they do things legally, properly, and that takes time.
Wala bang pwede pa-accelerate nun? Palagay mo?
Pwede naman. I think pwede naman, yeah. But just,
What do you
it will
suggest
accelerate.
to,
No,
the
it will.
president?
Automatic yan eh. It will accelerate. And the acceleration happens when one city sees what the other city is doing and the people now demand it. Yeah, that's the biggest acceleration you can have, right? So, for example, Makati is, it's doing voting or they do their LGU system where you do your business permit online. If the other one doesn't have it, then the other one will say, well, Makati has it, and their people will demand it, right? Or they give the LGU services to the citizens. Puro online service. You come your PhilHealth or they give you your vaccine. So you see what I'm saying? It's the services have to improve, and if you digitize, it improves much quicker than.
Isa sa mga pinakamalaking criticism sa Pilipinas yung ease of doing business problematic, di ba?
Ease of doing business.
And with digitization, it's going to be a lot faster.
A lot I mean, look at the investments going into the economic zones. The economic zones are parang on their own, they have their rules.
Yeah.
So they're able to bypass a lot of bureaucratic things. So it's much quicker. So in the zones, when foreign companies now want to invest, they go to the zones. And in the zones now, that's where a lot of the jobs are created because they understand and the rules are clear, right? You have this amount of years of tax-free, you have VAT-free for X years, whatever it is, right? And so they're able to move faster and build their factories faster, employ people there.
Yeah, tsaka may mga malalaking tax break, yung mga...
Yeah.
So, actually, yung sinasuggest nyo kanina na improved infrastructure, na transport infrastructure, it goes hand in hand with creating jobs. Doon sa, halimbawa, pagbubuo pa ng mga extra economic zones kasi madaling mag-fly in, fly out ang mga tao. Tama po.
Totally. If you go to Mactan, you notice everything around Mactan is an economic zone.
Tagal na ako dito pupunta ron.
The whole around Mactan.
Kwento mo naman sa amin.
The whole Mactan around it is an economic zone, right? That feeds into the airport where they ship out stuff. And so it works, right?
I've been, kasi po nakatira na po ako sa Europe for over a year now. And then, isa sa mga problema doon, aging population. And everybody was talking about, for example, pasintabi po sa China, but China might get old before it gets rich. So ako, as a Filipino, ngayon na mabababa pa ang median age ng Pinoy. 24 pa lang po yata tayo ngayon eh. Ang gusto ko sana, mabigyan ng pagkakataon yung mga Pinoy habang karamihan tayo bata pa, sa demographic sweet spot pa. Sa palagay niyo po ba, are we on track na ma-exploit yung pagka-vibrant, pagkabata ng ating populasyon? Or are we moving in too slow?
No, we're moving very fast. I mean, you're right, China, with the one-child policy that they had all those years, all of a sudden, they don't have people, right? So that's going to happen. We are going all over the world. Automatically, that's the nature that we are. So I think we're taking advantage of the situation. We have to make sure our education keeps up so that we can always keep up with the.
Would you say that we're on the right track, or are there things now you might want to sana ma-improve kahit pa paano?
So your nutrition is where I think we're lacking, where we can do more, and the private sector can probably do a lot
actually,
more.
Sabihin, I talked with Secretary Benhur Abalos about that. Yung first 1,000 days ng mga bata, tutok na daw ang DILG. Kasi daw, doon yung pinakamalaki yung impact sa kanilang IQ.
Exactly.
Diba? Tapos po, magkakaroon din daw ng reforma sa edukasyon. Just last year, yun pong British Council and the British government said na bachelor's degrees awarded in the Philippines are now recognized in the UK as actual bachelor's degrees. Kasi prior po para associate lang ang tingin nila. So I think that at least that part is improving. So bukod po ba doon, ano po ba po pwede nating ayusin sa bansa natin para mabigyan nila ng idea po? Kasi pre-zone na po ito eh.
So we focus on nutrition, number one. So that's structural, right? And then that's in long term. So nutrition, then that goes into the education. For the education, we need to increase our digital connectivity, for example. We're behind in amount of towers compared to other countries. And this is another project that we're doing with PISAC, right? Where we're saying...
Pwede PPP din yun, di ba?
Well, actually what it is that what we found out is that other countries, the government invested in digital towers. And that's why it's not only the private sector.
Kaya sa palagay nyo, kaya natin gawin yung ginawa ng Australia na meron silang national backbone, yung kanilang internet.
Our backbone's very good. Our backbone's very good in the
country.
So
what's the problem?
From the tower to the highway.
Parang you retailing.
Parang your NLEX is very good, SLEX very good. Now from SLEX to your home,
the barangay road.
Oh, the barangay road. Yeah. So that's exactly what's lacking here, right?
So in your opinion, how do we help fix that?
So the government must invest in towers, for example, or that last mile, whatever it is, right? To be able to spur the area where, because the tower will not put in a town where there's nobody that's going to use it. The tower company will not put a tower, right? Because malugi sila.
Doesn't make business sense.
Doesn't make business sense. So that's where the government must put it. And there's thousands of those areas called GILDA areas that require geographically, I can't remember the exact word, but where they would have a requirement for these towers. Once you put that, the people there will be able to study, they have connectivity, etc., etc. So that for me is another thing, right? So those are the things that I think, right? So nutrition, and then
Nutrition,
your schools,
education,
etc., and connectivity.
digital infra. And eto po, no, while I was reading yung background ng Aboitiz group, isa sa mga subsidiary niyo, kung ano ba tawag doon, sa mga sub-companies ninyo, involved sa data and innovation, data science and artificial intelligence. Ang marami pong kinakatakot ng mga Pilipino, lalo na po't marami sa atin nasa BPO, Business Process Outsourcing, is that AI and yung mga advances in AI will gobble up, will eat, papatayin yung BPO industry. Sa inyo po palagay, ano po ba do you agree with that? Or is there a way to maybe upskill or reskill our workforce?
I don't think it will gobble up. It will affect, for sure. Let's make sure that it affects positively and not negatively, right? So again, education, all
Education,
of that it's what that does, right? We have time. All these things take time. But it is happening.
But do we have time pa naman?
Well, we have time, but we don't have a lot of time. Yeah, let's put it that way. So we need to. But even education, right? The AI in education is what's going. That's what I mean by you have to take advantage of it. The AI in education is what's going to give us the advantage because now it's free. You can take an AI to teach the student, and it will monitor, and it will tell the student if the student takes too long or answers or goes somewhere else.
Oy, bilisan mo.
No, or tell us, no, you cannot ask someone else. Alam niya. It's literally like a real person, right? Not only to students, RJ, but to teachers. It improves the teacher because there's also the guides that help the teacher.
Actually, sobrang simple lang po. Yung mga English teachers natin, kausapin lang nila yung AI. Practice na nila to speak English yan eh.
So, take advantage of the AI to give us an edge. Not
Gawin ka kampe, wag
gobble us
kalaban.
up.
Ganon.
Yeah. Don't make it. It's not your kalaban. It's your kaibigan, di ba?
Yeah.
So that's for me what we have to do, right? What we have to understand.
All right. Sabi, on a final note, sa palagay mo, ito lang para lang magkaroon lang ako ng magandang, kasi kabado ako para sa bansa natin especially since malayo na ako sa Pilipinas and I don't really hear a lot of news about it. Are we on the right track? And ano ba yung mga potential na mga opportunities or threats para sa Philippine economy at least in the short and medium term?
I think we are definitely on the right track. The first thing the president did was go out and sell the country, right? Which he did. All of a sudden, the world is looking at the Philippines, as an investment destination. We locally, for example, we're going to put about 250 billion pesos in the next year in capital expenditures. Right? That's $5 billion. It's quite a bit of money for a company of our size. And I can see a lot more companies are pledging, or not pledging, but actually putting, tons of money into the country. Why? Because they believe in it, right? So
yung 250 billion na capex, capital expenditures, na at least for your company, you cannot really speak for other conglomerates,
Right.
diba? Pero yung 250 billion na capex nyo na baalak na yun, palagi mo magkano kadami magagawa trabaho nun? Ballpark.
It's so hard to say, right? Because, the most, like I said, is industrial estates. And those industrial estates create a lot of...
Tas may trickle yun. Diba?
That goes straight into companies investing in the estates. And that is really job creation. And then you have infrastructure. Infrastructure doesn't sometimes it creates construction jobs, but it doesn't create jobs that keep going, right? If you build a highway, the job creation is smaller. You build an LRT, it's small. If you build an airport, it's big. So it's different.
All right, last question. If I were an 18, 19-year-old right now who's in college, maybe in UP or some, smaller state university, can you confidently tell me na the future will be brighter, or we have to at least medyo may cautious optimism?
No, the future is very bright here. We just have to make sure that we study, we learn it, but of course, absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind. We continue our GDP, our growth is is at 5.4%.
Is the government supporting you?
The government is supporting us.
Could
Definitely.
you explain a bit kung paano?
Well, my role in PSAC is what I know, and which I see quite a wide range of industries, right? Where
And he listens to you, the president.
he listens to us, to the private sector. He really believes in us, and that's what gives us a lot of hope, right? When the president really listens to you, you know when you're talking to somebody and
Yung
for
alam
2
mo,
hours,
lip service lang yung...
you're a big meeting, you're like 8 people, you're 10 people, 20 people. Sometimes you look at your phone, di ba? Ganun. He doesn't even look at his phone not once. He's totally engaged. He's absorbing what's being said, right, by both sides, the private and the thing, and then he balances it out. So I think, like I said, we've really been really on the job for 1 year. Let's give it time now to
Well,
kick in.
that's really nice to hear. Maraming salamat po. Kasama ko po uli si Aboitiz Group President Sabin Aboitiz. Sorry guys tawag ko lang Sabin kasi ayoko na masyadong matanda yung... Ayoko na
Siyempre.
Sabin feeling close naman, di ba?
Yeah, no. Thank you very much.
Final message mo doon sa mga nanonood ngayon.
Yeah, no, of course. We've been in this country for over 100 years, right? 120, 130 years. There are ups and downs that we've had. We've gone through wars. We've gone through. So we believe in the country. Our growth it's very clear, and we believe in this administration very much.
Ayan. Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat, Sabin. Again, ako po si RJ Nieto ng Thinking Pinoy. At ito po ang Through the Lens. Maraming salamat po sa panonood.